Cleopatra, the name alone sparks images of beauty, power, and tragedy. But what if I told you that almost everything you think you know about her is wrong? The seductive queen draped in gold? The woman who brought down empires? That's the Hollywood version. The real Cleopatra was far more fascinating, smarter, shrewder, and far more mysterious than any movie ever showed. Let's pull back the royal curtain and uncover 7 Cleopatra secrets history tried to hide. Fact 1. She wasn't Egyptian. Yeah, let that sink in. Cleopatra, Egypt's most famous ruler, wasn't actually Egyptian. She was Greek, more specifically Macedonian Greek. Her family, the Ptolemies, came from a line of Greek rulers who took over Egypt after Alexander the Great's death. So technically, Cleopatra's ancestors were foreigners ruling over an Egyptian people for centuries. But here's what makes Cleopatra different. She was the first in her family to actually learn the Egyptian language. Think about that. Her father, grandfather, and even great-grandfather ruled Egypt without speaking the language of their own subjects. Cleopatra changed that. She spoke to her people in their tongue, embraced Egyptian traditions, and even styled herself as the living goddess Isis. She might not have been Egyptian by blood, but she was Egyptian by heart. And that's one reason her people truly loved her. Fact 2. She spoke more languages than most modern politicians. Most people know Cleopatra was smart. But few realize just how smart she really was. She reportedly spoke 9 languages, including Greek, Egyptian, Hebrew, Arabic, Persian, and even a few African dialects. Imagine being able to sit down with diplomats from half the known world and talk to each one in their native tongue. She didn't need translators. She didn't need middlemen. She handled her own negotiations personally. That's one reason foreign leaders respected her so much. Cleopatra didn't just rule with beauty, she ruled with intellect. So next time someone calls her just another pretty face, remember, this was a woman who could outtalk, outthink, and outmaneuver some of history's most powerful men. Fact 3. Cleopatra's beauty wasn't what you think. Let's be real, Cleopatra's beauty has become legendary. Artists and filmmakers have painted her as this flawless goddess who could hypnotize men with a single glance. But ancient coins tell a different story. Her face wasn't traditionally beautiful. Her nose was strong, her jawline firm. She had presence, not perfection. Historians say her real allure came from her charisma. People couldn't take their eyes off her when she spoke. Her voice, her wit, her confidence, that's what made her irresistible. In a time when women were often dismissed as ornaments, Cleopatra weaponized her intelligence and charm like a true queen. Beauty fades, but charisma conquers. Fact 4. She was a master of propaganda. Before Instagram, before PR teams, Cleopatra was already running one of history's best image campaigns. She crafted her public image with precision. When she met Julius Caesar, she famously had herself smuggled into his palace, rolled up in a carpet. Not only was it a daring stunt, it was a calculated move to make her unforgettable. Later, when she met Mark Antony, she arrived in a golden barge with purple sails, surrounded by dancers, music, and clouds of perfume. It wasn't just drama, it was psychology. She knew appearances shaped power. Everything she did was designed to make her seem divine, untouchable, larger than life. Cleopatra wasn't playing the game of politics, she was rewriting it. Fact 5. She wasn't a femme fatale, she was a political genius. History often paints Cleopatra as a temptress who seduced powerful men to get what she wanted. But that's an oversimplification. Her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony weren't just romantic, they were strategic alliances. Egypt was caught between superpowers like Rome, and Cleopatra knew that aligning with the right man could protect her throne and her nation. She gave Caesar a son, cementing Egypt's importance in Roman politics. Later, she formed an alliance with Mark Antony to defend Egypt's independence against Rome's growing dominance. She didn't use love as a weapon, she used politics disguised as love. That's a subtle but powerful difference. In truth, Cleopatra played the most dangerous political chess game of her time and almost won. Fact 6. Her death might not have been by snakebite. We've all heard the dramatic story Cleopatra, cornered by Octavian's army, lets a venomous asp bite her arm, dying in regal defiance. It's tragic, poetic, and cinematic. But historians now believe that story might be a myth. For one, an aspie's venom takes too long to kill, and the snake itself would have been hard to hide. Roman records suggest something far more discreet, a poison prepared and tested on prisoners beforehand. Cleopatra may have taken her own life using a deadly mix of toxins, ensuring a quick, dignified death. Why does this matter? Because it fits her character. Cleopatra was too intelligent, too deliberate to leave her fate to chance or to a snake. Even in death, she controlled the narrative. Fact 7. Rome tried to erase her legacy. After Cleopatra's death, Rome went out of its way to destroy her reputation. Octavian, later known as Emperor Augustus, had to justify his war against her and Mark Antony. So he turned Cleopatra into the villain, the exotic temptress, the witch who seduced good Roman men and threatened their empire. Roman poets, playwrights, and historians painted her as dangerous, manipulative, and immoral. And for 2,000 years, that's the version of Cleopatra most of the world believed. But the truth: she was one of the last great rulers of the ancient world. A woman who stood against an empire, outsmarted generals, spoke to her people in their language, and ruled not through fear, but through brilliance. History didn't forget Cleopatra by accident. She was erased on purpose. Here is a bonus fact for sticking around: her tomb is still missing. For centuries, archaeologists have searched for Cleopatra's tomb and found nothing. Some believe she was buried with Mark Antony, hidden in a temple near Alexandria. Others think her body lies beneath the Mediterranean Sea, lost to time. But here's the wild part: ancient texts say she wanted to be remembered as a goddess, not a ghost. So maybe, just maybe, her missing tomb wasn't an accident. Perhaps Cleopatra planned it that way, to keep the world guessing, to make sure her mystery lived on. And guess what? It worked. So who was the real Cleopatra? Not the Hollywood seductress. Not the tragic lover. She was a scholar, a strategist, a ruler who knew how to wield power in a world that didn't want her to have any. She spoke 9 languages. She outsmarted Rome. And even 2,000 years after her death, she's still one of history's most captivating figures. Maybe that's her greatest secret of all: she never really died. Her story just keeps evolving, generation after generation. If you enjoyed uncovering the truth behind Cleopatra's hidden life, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories that history tried to bury. Because sometimes the real stories are even better than the legends.